Hey everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino. This is something I have not done for a long time. However, I'm getting so much feedback from the video that I did just a little while ago, my post-market wrap-up with the title, Last time you bailed out the banks, this time you're going to bail out countries. I just wanted to get this out and clarify a few things. People, look, I am sorry if I hurt anyone's feelings out here. That's the truth. But I am just trying to put things into a perspective. And I personally don't care really at all who's in that pretty White House. You know that. I voted for President Trump. I did expect things to be a little bit different. But unfortunately, things have gone in a really different direction. Has he done some things that are good for our country? Without any doubt. That is the job of the president. He's also doing quite a few things here that I personally wish he were not doing. The number one thing is feeding the machine. We have to stop. Look, I cannot stress this enough, and I've covered it so many times. The issue itself at its core is it's debt. And if you look at everything that's been instituted lately by this president, could be anybody, but it just happens to be him, you will see that all it's doing is forcing, or actually not forcing, but clearing the way for our central bank, the Federal Reserve, to go on a money printing binge unlike we've even seen before. It's really the truth. This trade war thing, if you do not believe that this could have been handled in a different way, well then you're just lost and we have no common frame of reference. These trade imbalances have been going on for a very, very long time. In my opinion, and you can see how it's playing out already, it's an excuse for the Federal Reserve to continue printing, adding digits to a screen, and it also, and this is what gets to me the most here, it's setting a precedent, and we've seen it already at work. We now have to bail out farmers, and again, the precedent is very simple. Whoever gets hurt by a tariff is going to get a bailout. I don't like that, neither should you. We were forced to bail out the banks last time. And again, this isn't against President Trump. He just happens to be the president right now. Also, this whole thing with Space Force, seems like a lot of you are going off the deep end on that. It's not just me. Military brass are really questioning, why do we need a sixth branch of the military when we already have a Space Force in other ways? Why create another branch of the military with an initial cash layout of $6 billion? More cash, where does it come from? Think about it. And then there's this whole thing with our Treasury Department now having to, expand their sale of debt because we cannot even fund the day-to-day activity of our country because we're not collecting tax dollars. This economic boom we're in, this is as good as it gets according to Trump. These are his words. They're not mine, and I'm not hating on the man at all. I voted for him. But if you look at these things and say, what's really going on here? Why do we have to do these things if everything is just so great right now? If this is as good as it gets? You really have to sit back and look at it. Now, today, this whole thing was a charade, in my opinion. Number one, how many of you out here, with a show of hands, find it odd that the International Monetary Fund, its headquarters is in Washington, D.C.? Did you know that? Don't take my word for it. Look it up for yourself. It's headed by Christine Lagarde, a French woman, lawyer, and politician. I find that kind of interesting. They're all working in tandem here. I understand how hard it is to say, hold on a minute, everything that I thought may actually not be true. But this is not the first time in history that this has happened. There have been many charismatic leaders, just like the last one, Obama, that have led their countries down a path of destruction. That's the truth. Now, President Trump, again, has done some good things here, no doubt about it. But the path he is on right now is very dangerous. Now, I understand there are many of you out here who will believe this is some grand plan, a grand scheme to bring down world central banks. How? All he's doing right now, and I know you may be able to conjure up some kind of thing, but let's look at not what we are speculating about. Let's look at what we actually have going on here. President Trump's actions, again, with the tariffs, the trade war, the fact that the Treasury is expanding its sale of debt, this Space Force thing, which is the biggest joke I've ever heard of, and then this big farce that was played today on the markets is incredible. It really is. Look, not many people believed, and they were up in arms about it, that we were going to be forced to bail out Wall Street and the banks last time. Well, guess what? You did. You had to pay for it all, and you're still paying for it. The fact of the matter is, nations, in here, our country as well, we're broke. We're insolvent. We operate with exploding debts and deficits like we've never seen before. And is this President Trump's fault? Absolutely not. It's the nature of the beast. This is how it's designed to function. The relentless acquisition of debt in perpetuity. You've heard me say this a million times. It can't change. Now let's talk about maybe how this can be fixed. Okay, because it seems that's a troubling spot for many of you. Number one, we have to stop borrowing. We have to start to live within our means somehow. That's it. That would cut off. That's the number one way to shut down the Federal Reserve and world central banks. Let's just stop doing it. Of course, that will never happen. President Trump, with his last budget, committed us to trillions in more spending. He promised he wasn't going to submit to it, but he did. Why do you think that happened? Because it's part of a grand plan that you're speculating may happen? Let's look again what we have in front of us. You understand? That would end the system right there. If President Trump issued an executive order to say, you know what, that's it. I don't care what we said we were going to do. We got to stop the madness. We're going to stop spending right here. Then, if we could institute, if he or someone or something would be able to institute a commodity-backed system, not a debt-based model like we have now, but a gold-backed, even if it was fractional, a fractional gold-backed system, that would also do the same thing. You don't hear any talk about this. I mean, there's a lot of, channels out here that keep speculating about these things, but again, let's look at what we have in front of us, not what we're thinking about for now. I mean, what will it take for you? I'm just curious to say, hold on a minute. There is a problem here. When over the past several weeks, we have seen nothing but schemes to continue to feed the machine. I want the machine to die. I want a free market. I want a real market. Period. The end. You know that. You should all know that if you follow my work. This thing that we are in right now is so monstrous. It is so big. Bigger than any one man, bigger than any one country. It's unbelievable. But again, how can we fix it? Well, those are two things that I just covered and we could do it now. I mean, honestly, if President Trump wanted to fix this right here and right now, all he needs to do is issue an executive order saying, we're done borrowing. We're not spending anymore. We're not going to just do this. We're not going to keep the machine oiled. Let's get rid of it. It's not going to happen. And there's no other, there are some of you out here that think, oh, no, he's going to explode the debt to the nth possible degree, and then all of a sudden he's going to spring a plan. Why doesn't he do it now? Oh, because he has to put a few other things in place first? No, absolutely not. Let's just look at the man's actions, what he's done, and how he played into this today. He played right into this today. Most people have no idea what's going on in any other part of the world. All they do is they turn on the Fox, the CNN, the MSNBC, and all they hear for the entire show is theories about President Trump and the deep state and this and that. Nothing else about what's going on around the world. Nothing about what's really going on in Europe, that their debt crisis. Well, they're in crisis now, and so are we here in the United States. We have a debt crisis. The only way to keep the debt crisis going is to borrow more. President Trump knows this very well. He knows that we're in a debt crisis, and I don't blame him for what he is doing, but it's wrong. We need to kill the machine, and this is how he does it. Number one, stop borrowing. Number two, some type of a commodity-backed, even a fractional commodity-backed currency. That's it. That's all he needs to do. No grand scheme, no mystery, no plan. This is all he got to do. It's that simple. Anyway, it's kind of funny. Just real quick, let me address this because I've been trolled a lot by, hey, Greg, how's your Tesla trade going? A lot better than Bitcoin. Did you look at Bitcoin right now? It's down at 6,100. I sold mine for 7,000. Sure, my Tesla trade is down a tiny bit, but if I had stayed in Bitcoin, I'd be getting murdered. Anyway, look, I'll see you all tomorrow. I hope this made sense to you.